morning. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for the sound check. Let's roll. All right, so market moved in the pre-market. Morning thieves are out, and I adjusted the pivot to 543.70. They're slightly below it now. They're in a zone. The zone is 543.70 down to 542.30. They don't have to get down to 542.30. There happens to be three numbers there. 543.70 is the pivot now. 543.07 to be precise is, we'll call it a midpoint phenomenon type of place, but it's not. It could be, but it's not the reason it's there. And 542.30 is a lower portion, which is also unfinished business. This is the morning zone where we should get a bounce back in the other direction if they're going to get lower. If they're going to do that, they're going to get below 542.30. This is the risk. They're going to get below 542.30 and they're going to start closing candles down there. They're going to stay down there. It's going to become overhead resistance and they're going to leak down towards 540.90. That's the risk. Okay. See everything you have ahead of time. Yeah, interest rates getting a pop. Okay. Where am I interested in a buy? I am interested in this zone, and I'm giving you the other side, which is the risk, which is, hey, if they're going to kill this thing, then they're going to get below 542.30 and they're going to stay below. But they should bounce back before that under normal garden variety conditions. This is one of my morning trades. This is one of the bucket of morning trades that we have every single day. Just take it at face value. Oh, hold on a second. I got two traders asking about Nike. One who's long, too long. One's out of the money. One seems to be, I'm not sure. Yeah, you want resistance. I mean, there's your resistance. Resistance is up here at 97. We got a couple minutes to post time. Your resistance is up here at 97. You don't even need that. Let's leave it there. What is that from? Yeah, that's not a good trend line. It's off. Not sure where that came from. Now, this isn't on the number, but this is where we are. So you got to understand that this is important. All right. That's your resistance. It's stays somewhat positive, if you will, above the trend line, but not below. Right now they're below. And the next number down, I really don't have. Look at the long-term chart. And you say, if they're below this trend line, then the next thing they're going to do is really test this pivot down here at 83 bucks, 82 bucks, $81. That's the risk here. So got a few stocks on the move. Got Love, not close. APTV, just get ready for the spiders. APTV's in the zone and Geis below the zone. Okay, be careful of Geis. Here we go. Opened on the pivot, right? Opened at 71, the pivot 70. No accidents, no coincidences. Just doesn't work that way. Transport's up nicely, FedEx popping on earnings or whatever they were doing. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't matter. Transports are up.
General Mills
WM's down. I'm sorry, Jordan. Say again.
General Mills opened above the third level, so it's below the first two.
No, yeah. That was a little bit of a screw job.
Just above, actually.
APTV. Spiders 543.70 is your pivot. Above, she's going to pop it and try and fill the gap, or at least get up in that neighborhood. And below 543.07 is the next number. APTV's trying to find support at 66.73. Spiders are trying to get down to 543.07. They are within the support zone. Let me look at Geis. Gary picked off Geis at 62.35. Well done. There we go. Swines. All right, let's see. I got some questions, comments, complaints. Catching up. Gary's out of most of got 63.50. Well done, Gary P. All right, back above the pivot is the bull case for further bounce. I'm sure we have traders long in here. This was your support zone. It just didn't get to the second number, but you take your 5 to 7 points as a initial base hit. and you hold a trailer, you can maneuver around that information, whatever makes you comfortable. But I like the concept of base hits put you in the Hall of Fame, and we pile them up, and you never know which ones are going to give you the doubles, triples, or home runs. 540, 370 can be overhead resistance. They can pop right back above it. We don't know which one will happen, but it's an important place. So we have two things at the important place. Either they're going to get above and stay above and go, or they're going to find resistance for a while, and that's why it's a good exit if you bought them down there, just from a base hit perspective. We got Oleg and APTV. Let's check on IWM. Bouncing. Just give me a hint. I'm going to make an assumption and say we have plenty of traders long. Who's long? Just give me a hey, yes, whatever. It doesn't even matter. Yep. Yeah, a lot of you. Great. Excellent. All right. Take the ride. Take the base hit and take the ride. They should give you a ride out of this. 543.70 is the bull case. There she goes. All right. Might take them a while to get up here, but the gap is at 544.78 officially. You see my point about the base hit? This is why you take the base hit. You never know which ones are going to come back down, retest, go a little bit lower, which ones are going to continue and take the rocket ride. And that's why you treat it as a business and you treat it as a process, and you take profit in that 5 to 7 point realm from where your entry was, and you hold for the never know, and you don't let the rest go bad. You can always repurchase. Yes, there's a play it against salmon here if they come down. Very simply, your zone is 543.07 to 542.30 right now. If they come back down, that's a buy zone. Got on FedEx real quick. I had a number, they didn't get there. 294.25, did the work this morning. There's another number up there, it's at 297.50, just in case. But they, look at that. That was the trade, if there was a trade, if I brought it up earlier and they got there and all that stuff. But they didn't get there. APTV, there it goes. Hello. Good job, Phil C. Sneer, both APTV and Geis, well done. Sneer got 2 doubles, well done. Yep, excellent. Max, Geis, Oleg, APTV for $1.50, that's fantastic. Sneer got a quick triple, look at that. You get $3 or $2 in a minute. You don't do that every day. You never know which ones, that's the point. Let's check on Moderna, Tom. Moderna. Oh yeah, see you later. Just give me a minute. I got a number, but it's a little far away. I'm trying to get another one. I got Moderna. I got 3 numbers. 125.40, 123.25, and 120.75. There's a bounce in there, and I don't have to get to the lower number. I'm just giving you 3. That's today. Moderna. Not going to be wrong 3 times. Can we look at GC? We sure can. If I can get the symbol right. All right, there's a lot of lines on here. You got to ignore them. I'm just testing these lows. The only thing you have below these lows where they are right now is the next pivot low at, let me, and then there's symmetry there too. Just a second. Just looking on some more real estate. If 2304 doesn't hold, then there you go. 2304 and 2290. Alex, took me a minute. ALB, let's go take a look, Gary. It's 20, I had 2205 on the chart. I don't remember the other number. They didn't get there, but you took it and got out at 98.80. Fantastic, well done. Pays to have a sticky notepad. Your next target is almost 65, 64.90, 64.95, 65, right there. Hey, might have spiked it up to 65, 30, 40, something like that. That's resistance. All right, so Spider's trying to find legging here at 543.70 still. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. You bought them down here. You have no reason to sell. Doesn't cost you anything to hold it. FSLR. 249.35. You guys knew that number. No, we talked about it yesterday. I said the longer they do this, the lower they can go, but this is still a support zone. This thing's killing me. I got shaken out. Tesla's on the run, sure is. Yeah, see this? Bullish, breaking out, trying to run a test of the next high, pivot, or in that neighborhood, and the high pivot is 198.87, so 198, 197.50, 198.80, anything in there is really where they're headed. Seem to have a number at 195.60. I don't remember it, but I'm gonna try and find it. Yeah, 195.60 is an important number also. That's before you get to that 198 and change. Okay, doing nothing wrong. As long as they're above 543.70, the door's open for the gap. They don't have to get to the gap all at once. They get to 544.50, could react there. Go. A little bit better now. A little bit louder now. Yeah, you know what happened there, Chad? I'll give you a guess what happened there on Geis. You got it. There go the spiders. Taking the ride. Traders taking the ride. Enjoy the ride. Resistance is 544.50 up to 544.78. They don't have to stop there, but that's natural overhead resistance sooner than later. It is an exit opportunity in front of that zone, within that zone, around that zone, trader's choice. Is the downsloping trend line on the spider off the table as it closed above it yesterday? Downsloping trend line. Talking about this one? No, technically it's not off the table. And even though they opened below today, if they get above and close the first hour above, it's just a retest. So yeah, no, that's still a valid trend line in my opinion. Let's check it out, Armand. 144.19, how you doing? 144.07 high. If this thing gets going, this is, I have it on my other chart. To get above this gap. The other side of this is 139 is really important. They got to stay above 139 in my opinion. Okay. ExxonMobil. Yeah, 113 is the only thing below these pivots. 113. I'm going to take this off just because it's clogging up my chart. Here comes 544.50. Good profit opportunity up there. You don't have to take it all, but it's worth taking something. Micron earnings after the close. Let's look at that from a different perspective. If it falls, I have it also on my other chart. If it falls, you're down at 125, 126. Okay. If it pops, they start to climb this candle. That's what I got. The spider's got a high so far, 39 against 50. We're used to that. Any 10 a.m. dater today? I'm not sure, Steve. Anybody know? Mark says yes. What phony data do we have today? Home sales. Okay. If the market moves at 10 o'clock, it's because of home sales. Fair enough. Can they come back to test the pivot? Sure. Can they get below? Sure. This is, nobody ever tells you how they're going to get to the target. Whether they're going to come up short, spike it through, same routine every single day. They only play it against Sam down there, Sneer, is at 543.07 to 542.30. That's the new zone. There's two spike the lows in there plus a midpoint phenomenon. So that's a pretty darn good zone if they came back down. See what I'm saying? There's a spike the low here from today, and then there's a spike the low here from yesterday, and there's a number below each of those. It has nothing to do with these lows. These are both unfinished business. This has been unfinished business. We've been talking about it. This is absolutely played against Sam's zone. Crude oil inventories at 10:30. Okay, remind me, and we'll go over there before 10:30 and take a look at the chart, or take a look at it around 10:30 to see it move if it's going to move. Let's see, what do we got in IWM going on? Down 0.5%, but rallying. How many revisions do they have in GDP? I don't know, 3 or 4. It's ridiculous, Raf. 8:30 it was a GDP revision. Does anybody pay attention to it? No, that's why. Let's take a look at ZW. Steve T. I always do that. 542.20, 542 was the next place I have. And eventually they're going to rally back to this line anyway. It's from where? 542 or 554, 550, you know, anywhere in there. That's the next number I have. 550 is the same as 554. What's going on with the Q people? Nothing wrong there. Yeah, spiders just, they come up short, they pull back, then they try again, pull back. It's nothing. Let's see, Ed, let me look at CMG. Nice pay. Oh, this was the 50-to-1 split. Is that today? I don't know when this was. Yeah, this low is pretty good today. This was a good support zone today in this neighborhood. I would have been at, they got to low at 62.75. I would have been a little bit lower, but that was a good place. Let's see what we got. 65 is natural resistance. Okay. If they get above 65, they're going to start working on this candle high. Okay, so up another almost buck. And if they get above today's high, by chance, they're at 66.90. I'm gonna look around for a second at my list here, see what else is cooking, if anything. What happened to Moderna? That's not over yet. All right, got a candidate. No, maybe not. No. All right. Got another candidate. This one's a good candidate. 46.60 in Delta. Delta. Give me a second. I'm gonna get a secondary place. Well, this is really close by, so it's just a small zone. That's a zone in Delta today. Trying to push. Look, the door's open for the gap as long as they stay above 543.70. Nothing's changed. Yeah, I just looked at HPQ, and that's the one I thought I had a beat on, and I'll show you why I didn't. You see all this? So where's support going to be? Is it going to be at this breakup candle low? But if it's not, where do they go? All the way down here. I don't want to take that risk in a day trade. Okay, that's why. Yeah, you got it, Tom. Yeah, you're going to get to figure it out. For the most part, you can get an area, Raf, where I'm going to be. Maybe you can't get it to the penny yet. It doesn't matter. You have an idea. Hey, look, market's going to do this, going to go test this place. All right. He has a number down there. Yeah, all right. Maybe a fib retracement is close enough to my number. You get to start to see that these things have multiple reasons that the numbers are there. We're talking about how you find these zones, and Raf says eventually I get to understand where your zones are and why. And be right, because nothing changes. I keep doing the same thing over and over again every day, and I have for years. Eventually, you get comfortable with, hey, look, this is what's going on. Anthony wants to look at Carvana. This is a big spot. This is a big spot. I mean, they're either going to start closing candles above here or they're not. And that's a big spot. I don't really have it. There's no day trade in here or anything. I take that back. I take that back. That's a support zone. Let's just call it 122. But it's not close, but it's not that far considering where they've been. Now watch this. All right, we could take this pivot low. She's good. See that? See my zone? And I didn't do what I did after I put the fibs on there. I did it before. That was to my point before. You could see it. It's clear as day sometimes. That's what happens when you've been doing this for decades. And that's not that just supports the case. Mark says they did the gap. Hold on a second. And there go the spiders. There's your target. Just in the nick of time. I'll be back in 1 minute. From 544.50, which is why it was an exit area. Mark, if you're talking about the gap in Carvana, yeah, they filled it. You're right. MU, Armand, let's see what you got. You bought the gap? Is that what you did? 17K booked? Well done. I'm assuming you bought the gap. PayPal? They just missed it. Look over here. This is on Thursday. And then even yesterday, I would have told you that the luster's off this number. Yeah, thanks, Alex. I see it was from days earlier, but I'm just saying, I would have said, if you asked me this before price happened, I would have said the luster's really off this number. Doesn't change the number, it changes the trade opportunity. That's the way I look at it. Variable risk. That doesn't change this number. So if they come down to 57.55 today, I think she's good. You trade a bunch of times, Armand. Fair enough. Good job. IWM doing just fine. While we're at it, let me get some profit numbers in the spider trade. Haven't done that in a little bit. Let me hear some numbers, some hard numbers. Those of you that took the ride, whatever you've booked so far, your trailers, I don't care, whatever you want to say. $900 for Alex, $500 for Anthony, 4.5K with a trailer for Drew. That's excellent. 500 for, oh, SPXL 500. That's good, Anthony. 300 with a trailer for ES and Jory, 900 for Jerome, 500 for William, 1,400 for Douglas T, 500 for James O. Awesome. 650 for Wesley. Up about $3,000 between APTV and Tesla from yesterday. Oleg, well done. 1,400 on the Qs for Kenny W. Awesome. This is what you signed up for. This is an easy morning trade. They're not all easy, but you relish the ones that are a little bit. 81.50 flip short from 545.50. Michael W. How's your day going? 150 on the spider for Donnell. These are all awesome. Everybody's got their own numbers, meaning profit numbers. Everybody's got their own account size, and what's important to you is important in your own world. Don't worry about what other people are doing. You'll get there. You just stay steady. It doesn't happen overnight. You can't go from an account that produces a few $100s a trade to an account that produces $5,000 or $10,000 a trade overnight. It doesn't work that way. You know that. Yeah, me too, Jory. Is there a short in the ES above? Yeah, but it's way above. There's no reason to short the tape here. Anthony took Carvana. I'm not sure what all that means, but let's take a look. Yeah, whatever you did, it worked. Just take the ride. Take profit, take the ride, do whatever you like. Good job. 700% on Tesla riding with a trailer for Jacob. Wow. So Jacob had short-term Tesla options. I don't even need to ask specifics. I already can tell that. And that paid handsomely. See, well, that's a risk reward, right? He knew that it had to work out relatively quickly, and he got paid accordingly. Done. Spiders on the move. Folks, I hate to keep doing this, but I'll be back in 1 minute, one more time. Okay, I'm back, I'm here. Let's see, PE, all right, Expedia, I have it on my other chart. Just give me a second. No, I haven't. I might have done it already. No, just give me a second. 125.21, 124.65, Expedia. JPM, check it out. I like 195.35. And then if they spike this low, there's a spike below and rip it back at 193.85, give or take. All right, but this is good for now. If they came down to 195.35, it's still okay, Rev. They just bounce it at the gap. Yeah, Expedia, again, sure. 125.21 and 124.65. Slow. What's the volume today? I'm sure it's slow. 5 million shares, that's ridiculous. Almost an hour into the day, 5 million shares. It's almost non-existent. Any targets for Meta? Yeah, probably not. Just that line from yesterday. See this high? We could demark that better, right? So this high, it's just a natural place, okay? So this high is 513.50. So 513.50 is a line in the sand. So it's overhead resistance until it's not. That's the way that shapes up, which means that in order for them to get to the next place, they have to clear 513.50. So can you consider it a target? They're going to run a test of it at some point. Can they get above? And if they get above, where's the next target? That's a good question. I need more real estate. It's crazy, but 514.05 is the next place. It's very close. But I would say that today, that's a resistance zone for now. Spiders got to a high of 80. They filled the gap. They closed candles above the gap, and they begin to work on these highs and then 546. So they hit the gap. They pulled back a little bit. Variety stuff. All right, normal pullback from the gap, and that's why our zone for profit taking was 544.50 up to 544.78. And you're seeing the reason. Oh, NVIDIA, let me check it out. Hold on. I see what's going on here. Yeah, 124.60, but then there's really not much before the next number. Just be careful with that one. This is reversing. It could be just running a test of this number, but if they get below, it's this pivot at 123 and then 121.95. There is a zone here, little one, even 124. If the spiders get below the pivot, it's going to promote a fall. Could be just a test or not. After the long trade, you don't try and pick off the pivot here, in my opinion. Treat it as a business. Make them, if you had a profitable trade, you make them do something different, spike the low. 543.07 and 542.30 is the next support zone at the pivot so far. Doesn't mean it'll hold, but so far what's important, it's the pivot. They just retested it and they're bouncing. Again, it wasn't my cup of tea to buy it right away like that. They got to do something more juicy for me, especially after a profit on the long side. What's going on with NVIDIA dropping? They just went into a support zone and they got to the midpoint, 124.60 to 124.15. Will, you just showed up and I just said that 2 minutes ago. I'm sorry. Anybody buy that? NVIDIA, even to pivot, if you just ignored what I said. Sneer got NVIDIA, well done. Yeah, nice bounce right away. They gave it to you already. Chad bought the pivot. Okay, hey, listen, trader's choice, that's fine. You knew what it was. It's just whether I was willing to do it or not, and what I said. Shalom was short NVIDIA. I hope you took profit at the, now you made money, so I assume you did. Took profit at the sports zone. Well done. Oh, there you go. So now get rid of that thing, Nike. Forget about it. Get it out of your account. Stop looking at it. Yeah, Tesla was having a rip today. Yep. Tesla was having a rip today. Let's see what else we got. Yep, we were talking about that earlier also. MU reports after the bell. We got that. Just took profits in the ES reload, keeping a trailer. Mitch was long at the pivot. All right. Hey, look, you guys do take what information I tell you, do whatever you like, whatever makes you comfortable, totally fine. T-Mobile, let's see it. You have some support around 175, 175 and a half. So 175, 175 and a half is a short-term target on the short side for T-Mobile, David. Below that, they start with this pivot low down here at 174.12. That's for today. Thanks, Michael W. Yeah, it is pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah, we already saw that. Apple. Yeah, they want to get to 214.25, 214.50 in there. Sometimes they come up short, other times they spike them through. The gap. It's close enough. Got another candidate. Yeah, hold on. I'm still looking around here. Okay. ADP 237.75. I'm still working on another place. Number, creating a zone. Give me a second. There's your zone today in ADP. NVIDIA. Let's go back over there. Well done. They gave it to you, the 1%. 125.85, 124.60. It's almost on the button. It's funny how that works, isn't it? That's from the number, but they got to the midpoint. They got to the absolute midpoint phenomenon of the two numbers. How does that work? How does that work so much is the question. Why does that work? And in order for that to work, you have to have the numbers to begin with. But it's just remarkable. It's almost like a sixth man, coin a basketball phrase. Sneer got a base hit in NVIDIA. It's pre-programmed. Yeah, I don't know who's programming it, Lee. What was the number in ADP again? 237.75 to a spike of 237. It's a little far away, but you keep an eye on it. Well, let's see, Frank. CL, oh, 1030 came and passed. Okay, let's see what happened. I don't have it. There's nothing here. You got a breakup candle low, that's it. 80.23, call it 80 and a quarter. 80.23 is your bogey. They're gonna fight that. Don't forget, there's a breakout area here, so you have, here's what I'm looking at. Market comes down, tries to recover, builds a bearish pattern, makes a high of around 80 bucks, pulls back, tries it again, makes a high of 80.62. Has a breakup candle low right in the middle at 80.23, almost in the middle, close enough. You see the concept of what I'm doing here. Okay, so those three things tell me that at least today, first time, best time, 80.23, 80 bucks in that neighborhood is support. You'll have a bull bear battle around there. That's the way I'm looking at that, Frank, and anybody else. Funny thing that happened, it's not funny, but it's funny now, is we had waning velocity this morning right out of the gate. It could have lasted a little while longer than it did, but we had waning velocity. I didn't even need to mention it because you had waning velocity in a support zone. So what difference it make? It was still a support zone. So bingo. ZW, did it never got to my number, right? The next number. They're going to go back to that trend line at some point. I always do that. They're always going to go back to this trend line. The writing is on the wall. They're going back to the trend line at some point. Can they get above or not? That's a different question. But I said it as soon as they broke it. I said, no matter how low they, below the pivot in the spiders is a door opening to fall, right? They bounced off of it already. They gave you a scalp if you wanted it. If they get below, you just wait now and you wait for the next thing. 543.07 to 542.30 is the next thing. You have two spike the lows and you have two numbers just below the spike the lows. There is support in there, period. XOM, are they at 113? Might as well, I have it on my other chart. Might as well tell you 112.25. The next number below 113. So you got a 75-cent spread. If you're looking to play XOM, you should get a bounce in there. And you have a midpoint phenomenon with these highs in here, somewhere in there. So this is a good spot. Coin, let's take a look. Yeah, it's consolidating, eating time off the clock, bullish formation. As long as they don't break the chain and really start coming down here. Now, take this low here, right? 219.85. Let's demark that and let's see what's going on there. Now watch this. Okay, that's a breakup candle low on the hourly chart and they're eating time off the clock inside of it. Getting below is bearish, staying above is bullish. So they came down to test it, bull bear battle place, right? We just talked about that on another chart. It's a bull bear battle place. So they tested it. They had a nice bounce off it already for $3, give or take. But if they give it up, it's not good. But if they stay above, she's still eating time off the clock. So there's my assessment on coin for Oleg and anybody else. 219.85 is your bogey. And you've all seen me do that many times. And that was to Raf's point before, which is you're going to see that stuff eventually on your own. You're not going to need me to see it for you. You're going to see it. And you're going to understand it. And you're going to do exactly what I just did. All I did was the same thing I do all the time. That's just one of them. But I take the chart and I say, all right, what's important on this chart? And I picked out an hourly chart, breakup candle low, because she's been eating time off the clock in a flat formation, if you will. All right. So I said, all right, that's the fight. Get below there and it starts to leak, but stay above there and she can continue to, or at least eventually be finished building energy for the next move higher to challenge these highs up here. Go fill a gap, 226 and change. And then you have no man's land up here. So that's, in the bull case, that's what she's trying to do. It's an on-time situation. Amazon. This is an important number, 189.35. It's got to stay above there. Obviously it is now, but I'm just saying. That was yesterday. We had that resistance. I'm sure we talked about it yesterday. Trending up, testing the highs, uptrend, higher lows, bullish. Very hard to hop on board, but bullish. It's two of you were putting in Amazon at the same time. Very funny. Higher lows, low, higher low, highs, challenging the highs we had again. Are they up here to fail again or not? It's new highs pretty soon. It's uptrending. Take it at face value. Trend is your friend. I would say As long as she stays above 189.35, okay? Even, well, use that number. As long as she stays above 189.35 is okay to be long. It's not an easy trade. It's not a trade I would do, but that's what I'm telling you. Do what you want. My WM's down still 0.8%, I believe. 0.6%. Couldn't see properly. Spiders are flat-ish, down 45 cents, but it's like less than 0.1%. So that's flat-ish. Well, you might not find them to the penny as I do, Andre, but I'm not always right to the penny, right? It looks like I am a lot. Sometimes it hits to the penny, but when my number gets spiked by 50 cents or when it comes up short by 12 or 15 or 22 cents or whatever, is that a number that you might have come up with using everything I teach? Yeah, maybe. So it goes both ways. That's why I have zones. You use everything I teach. You pick out the next 2 or 3 spots using all the stuff, breakdown candle high, pivot, fib retracements, reversals, all kinds of stuff. You use everything I teach in a course. And you come up with the next 2 or 3 levels, up or down, and you're going to be close, if not on the mark. The more you do it, the closer you'll get. That's exactly right, Frank. And Frank says, thanks for explaining over and over again how you come up with the numbers. So it gets hammered in after a while. Some I can see easily and some I have a little trouble seeing, but I'm learning. That's exactly right. And you'll see more next week and the week after and the week after that. And it's progression. It takes time. Think about how far ahead you might be from when you started here. Everybody, not just Frank T, just everybody. You should be, put it that way. And if you're not, just keep at it and ask me questions. Jacob, from the teaching, I was able to figure a Tesla trade. Yeah, exactly. You're going to do it. And a lot of times you'll have one and you'll be scared to take it. But then after you see that happen over and over again, and you say, yeah, obviously I'm onto something. So you start taking them and you take them small to prove the point. Don't go heavy. And then you'll step up your share size and you'll say, now it's different than it used to be. Absolutely, Andre. Everything is. There's nothing different. At this point, what I put in the course is certainly not everything at this point, but I've been teaching since the course. I don't even remember when I put it out at this point, maybe 8, 9 years ago. Nothing's changed in the course. It's still completely valid information. The numbers are different, meaning the course was when the S&P was a whole totally different price and all the charts in there are different prices, but no bearing on anything. Nothing's changed. But I've added a whole lot more stuff in teaching through the videos at night, in here over the years. And so therefore, there's a whole lot more information that if you've been listening to me for all this time, you have over and above the course. So that's just a fact. At this point, the course is the foundation. It always was. It was always meant to be. Correct, Raf. You have to take real trades. Paper trading doesn't count because you lose a huge component, which is the emotional attachment to the trade. You need to know how to manage that. It's easy for me to say, don't have an emotional attachment to the trade. That's not realistic. You are always going to have an attachment to the trade. How you manage it and what kind of an attachment, and if you treat it as a process, and if you treat it as just happenstance, most win, some won't, matter of fact, that's what you'll grow into. But you have to have a stake in the game, and I agree with that. MU, I think it's a huge mistake to stay long 10% into earning. Hold on, Armand. Let me answer it this way, okay? Staying in anything in front of earnings. What's earnings? Tonight, tomorrow morning, probably tonight. So if it's tonight, staying in front of earnings is an absolute lottery ticket, all right? It's a gamble. It's a coin toss. There's no other way to explain that. So if you want to do that, then you do it small. That's the only way I can answer that, Armand. If I tell you to sell it, it's going to pop. And if I tell you to hold it, it's going to drop. And I can't be party to that. You know that. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Because I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen after earnings. They can come out with the best earnings you ever saw and stock drops 10 bucks, 20 bucks. Who knows? Why? Why does it drop 10 bucks, 20 bucks? Because of the Lupinacci vector on the conference call when they talked about growth and somebody misread a question, and it's all bullshit. You know that. It's going to do what it's going to do. I just can't tell you what it's going to do ahead of time. I think it's baked in the cake already, but I don't have the recipe to that cake. Yeah, of course you do, Frank. Frank says, I definitely look at stocks differently now than what I did before I came here. Of course, that's natural. The course is timeless. Thanks, Ron. And it is, because I put the information in there that has to do with how the charts work. It's nothing to do with the price. And it doesn't matter what the chart I used was. I could have used wheat for the course and it wouldn't have changed one thing. And that's why Ron says the course is timeless. And that's why I never redid that course, but I do have the intention of doing something different. It's just so impossible to get going and do it because it's so time consuming to build a course. The next course I do would be a whole big deal and kind of the real masterclass from swing trading, day trading, put some options in there, cycles, all the stuff that's in the other course and a whole lot more that I talk about in here every single day. It's a huge undertaking. It's very hard. Conoco, let's take a look. This is just a back and forth of the spiders. They came to test the pivot, got out of there in a relatively reasonable period of time, and that's bullish, by the way. 113, Conoco, remember? Below that is 112 and a quarter. The target is to get back above 114. That'll be bullish. Thanks, Andre. I intend to. Oil hits number and spiked. What was the number in crude? 80.23. How about that? What'd I tell you? It's amazing, right? That's not rocket science. That wasn't a mathematical calculation. It wasn't a formula. It was from looking at the charts for 25 or 30 years, or however long it's been. I don't even know anymore. I don't care to know. Will says implied move is 17 points in so what I say, 10 to 20, 10, 15, 20. Yeah, that's normal. 5%, 6%, 4%, 7% in there. That's normal. CDW, I haven't looked at that one in a long time. Anybody take that crude trade based on that information? I'm just curious. 25 to 18.20, 10 to 17.90. That's good. GC, let's take a look over there again. What was the low? 2304.70. Yeah, come on. What is the closest resistance in gold futures? Depends on your time frame, right? At this point, they'd have to get above 23, almost 23.30 to make anything happen. 23.25 for starters. Douglas T, I want to read part of that anyway because it goes to a point. So basically, I'm going to read it. It's just easier to read it. Managing trades was my largest problem. I did a test, paper trades in Thinkorswim a few years ago and bought either puts or calls, and my brother did the exact opposite. Both accounts lost money. So the rest of it we'll get to in a moment. But the point there is, remember when I said you can be right in a trade, buy a short-term option and still lose money on the trade because of the timing. And that's why the short-term options, if that's what they were, they're time dependent. They got to happen right away, or at least relatively quickly, or else the thetas or the time decay really eats away at the profits, and you can be right later on and still lose money. And that was case in point. I say that all the time. That's why it was important that you put that in there. It was cool. Where you help me is where to determine where a good place is to get out of the trades. Exactly. And that's a huge part of it, right? Where do you get in? That's item number one. Where's it wrong? Item number two. Where's a profit target so you don't let the profit deteriorate after you have it? That's item number three. So you need all three. Thanks for putting all that in. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I've seen that work the opposite too, Will. So it just doesn't really, because it's an average, it's do it this way. Okay. Teams are playing, and some sports are different than others. I'm not going to say football is the same as baseball, is the same as basketball, but you got two pretty darn good teams playing, but one on paper has way more of a high percentage to win because they have this, that, and the other thing. They got more hits. We'll talk about baseball. They got more hits. They got more home runs. They got a better ERA, team ERA. They got everything is lopsided in one team's direction. But when you get to the ballpark that day, today, okay, the pitcher could have a great day. 2 or 3 hitters could be off. You have the right pitch at the right time. A couple of bounces go one team's way. A couple of great defensive plays. Any team can win on any given day, all things being relatively close. They have to be decent teams, right? They got to be close, relatively close. I'm not talking about a major league team playing a high school team, right? But on paper, one team could be lopsided And over the course of a 10-game series, they're probably going to win 6 or 7. But any day, any team can win. And therein lies the whole thing with the going back to the options, where the options market could be telling you one thing from a percentage basis historically, but that doesn't really apply to tomorrow only. And that's the point I just want to make. And I know all that, but I just say it for everybody's benefit. If the odds are favoring one thing tomorrow because more people bought calls than puts, that doesn't really tell you that it's going up tomorrow. It just at face value tells you where the bets are, but we know that a lot of people could be wrong a lot of the time. That's my point. That's all. It's a little soapbox. Oh, Alex made $300 in crude today. Well done. Yeah, moving the stock, wrong option. Maybe it was too soon, right? Maybe the option was too close of a expiration. That would constitute the wrong option. Maybe it's too far out of the money. Wrong option. A lot of different things. You're right. Inverse head and shoulder on Tesla daily chart. Let's take a look at that. Let's see what Ed's looking at. There's a lot of lines here. We gotta clean this up. It's gonna impair my viewpoint. Inverse head and shoulders. I don't see it. Nope. I suspect I know what you're looking at. Let me ask you if you're looking at this. Who's this? Ed. You looking at this? Let me know, Ed. Yeah, that's not a head and shoulders. That doesn't follow the rules. I would take my class if I were you. And if you say you have, then go back and watch it again. That breaks the rules. NVIDIA, not yet. But as long as they're below this, look, they got to bounce the first time. Second time, not the first time, right? Everybody see that? 15 candle, bounce, gave you the deal. This is no good anymore. So now it's just this pivot opens the door down here. This is a buy. This is a buy. And I even have another number on my chart, right? That's your next zone, 121.95, 121.15. Bounce back in the other direction. Oleg says, look farther out on the weekly. Talking about Tesla? That's different. Good spot, Oleg. Now that does not break the rules. And Oleg is right. And technically speaking, that is an inverse head and shoulders. Good pickup, Oleg. So it's not on the daily, but it is on the weekly. I didn't see that. Look where they are. Funny how that works? Sure, of course it is. Spiders, below 543.70 is the bear case to fall. Above 544.78, the gap, is the bull case to rally some more. And that's what we got. So if they give us one or the other, if they give you 543.07 and 542.30, it's a buy zone for now. Yeah, it's near, exactly. Just sit back and wait. Talking about NVIDIA. How about Tesla, Douglas, start on 124 and to today? You talking about the daily chart? 124? This weekly one, we nailed it. No, you can't start in the middle of nowhere. No, but you look at the weekly chart, what we just did. This is a valid inverse head and shoulders by the textbook. So it's a weekly chart, which means, let's do this for real. So the high is 205.60. So we put the number to point, and the high here is 198.87. So I come back here and I go 198.87. So now we know that the two numbers are exactly where they need to be so that we know where price is above or below that neckline. And now we come down to an hourly chart and we say, all right, you see what's going on here? They're testing it. What you have to know is in order for this to be valid and at least have a chance to play out, it has to close Friday or a Friday above that neckline. And if they close above and then some subsequent Friday to that, they close below, it's off the table. And these are the rules. I didn't make up the rules. I'm giving you the rules. Scott SS, where would Tesla be a buy if the head and shoulders is to work? Okay, that's a good question. And the only way that I can tell you how to do this from a technical perspective is you have to wait for it to trigger. Friday's close, all right? And then you buy the retest, and they may not do it. and they may come close and they may spike it a little bit. We've seen that before, specifically in Tesla. With weeks ago, we had the same routine, and here come the spiders. First time, best time for the pivot anyway. This was the first time, this is not. So that's how you do it. And technically, you wait for them to pop it. Let's say they close Friday up here at 197, 198, whatever. And then next week, you find them back down testing this. That's the buy. And if they close below it, you're out. Didn't work. That's just the way, that's technically the way you do it. Can you just buy it and ride it? And as long as it stays, in other words, if it closes Friday above, you don't wait for the retest. If it's only a few points above, yeah, you could do that. But just realize that they generally will do a retest. Not every time, but a lot of times. Let's look at the Qs. Yeah, 477.50. It's near, yeah. David says CRM looks bearish. Maybe. But the market's in an uptrend. Not CRM, but the general market's in an uptrend. So you don't have to fight the tape so much. So you say CRM looks bearish from here, but it looks bullish from here. You got higher lows here, and you're eating time off the clock on a daily chart. So while this looks bearish, are you taking into account the fact that this, now watch what I do with this. Are you taking into account that this is bullish? Is that a bull flag? So are you going to play the short side to come down to here, which is 2 or 3 points, or would you rather be long with higher lows in an uptrending market overall? There's your 543.07, by the way. I wasn't even paying attention, and I wasn't locked and loaded. I was doing this. I'm a little pissed off. Not at anybody because I answered the question, because I wasn't paying attention. I was looking to buy that. All right. If you did, that's fine. Be right back. Obviously, we have traders long. That was the top end of the support zone. Spike the low, get to a number, and rip it in the other direction. Now, they didn't really rip it so far yet, 2 points, 3 points, but the concept is the same every day. If I have a number and there's a low, and not all lows are created equal, not all numbers are created equal, but if I have a number at an important low, it's the makings, it's the recipe for an opportunity. You take a scalp at 5 to 7 S&P handles, and if they get back above 543.70, you're in business again. They'll give you another 5-6 points out of that if they can get above 543.70. They'll give you 544.25, 35 in there. They're giving you the scalp, pretty much. They give you 4, they'll give you 5, they'll give you the pivot. There's your scalp, okay? Above the pivot is the bull case. 370 will be overhead resistance one more time until they can establish price back above. It is an exit, or before there is an exit opportunity for the scalp portion of the trade, which they have handed you officially. AMD, let's check it out. Yeah, nothing more there, not for me. There's your 543.70. Let me take a survey. How many traders got the 543.07 back up to 543.70? 6 points, easy. Boom, RAF, 80%. 80% of the trade. Along with a trailer for Scott, Michael W., Anthony C., Sneer, Jory, Mitch, Kamal, Ron, Sean. And some of you put numbers in, some of you didn't. I'm just noticing the list of traders, which I love to see. Yep, Raf's got 2 contracts left, $900 for Jerome. This is fantastic. Excellent, Kenny. Wesley got spider calls. Ken P did. Alex, there they go. What a spike the low, get to a number that you knew about before the open, and rip it back up in the other direction. All I have to say is, how you doing? How do you like them apples? And that's gonna be the show for the day, folks, pretty much. Stick around for a few minutes, but that's it. Absolutely, we'll finish on that note. You wanna hold a trailer? Absolutely fine. Nothing, doesn't cost you anything to hold it. Bull bear prize. Okay, so let's look at this hourly chart for a second. Okay, so this is still bearish. You're still making lower highs. It's bearish. It's a bear flag. It's a bear wedge. It's a bear whatever you want to call it. It's not bullish. Okay, short-term perspective, daily chart, you're okay above the pivot. Below the pivot, and you start to see how this can certainly begin playing out to the downside down here. All right, so what I'm going to say is prize today is this hourly chart 100 period moving average 540.90, give or take. That's your prize today. They could go lower, but that's a prize. 540 would be a fat round number below that. So that area is your prize today. The other prize, I have to say, is still 547.15. Because if they're up at 546 later today, then it does open the door for 547.15, and that's pretty important, and it's prize-ish. So there's your two sides to the prize. All right, look at this. There you go. All right, before we wrap it up here, I have to get some latest profit numbers on this trade. I know a lot of you put in that you're in, and I have to get numbers. I love numbers, obviously. Michael W, 2650 with trailers, 400 for Robert L, 500 for Scott with trailers, Scott S. Loving it. Loving it. 3K with a trailer for Drew N, 900 with a trailer for Jory, 2260 with ES and NQ today for Chad. That's awesome, Chad. 1K with the NQ today for Max F. Wonderful. Awesome. You close it up today. You don't give away the profit this afternoon. You don't do stupid stuff. You close it up today when you have numbers like that and you say, I'm done. And you feel good about it, and you come back fresh tomorrow with a bigger account than you had today. That's the goal every day. Be right back. To wrap it up here, folks, this was a quiet but very good day. The market did the stuff that trades are made out of. It gave us two of our favorite morning trades out of the bucket. Can't ask for anything more than that. If they give you more than that, that's great. But in the spiders alone, they gave us two of the morning trades. Okay. Yeah, NVIDIA didn't get down to this zone. This is a good zone today if they do. But if they recapture 124.60, then they'll run for 125 or above. All right, this is turning into a whopper. I mean, it's already almost 15 points, 12 points, 13 points. I mean, in minutes. That's why you hold the trailer. You never know. Yeah, Jerome, you're welcome. I was going over another chart. I fucking missed it. If you heard that, my bad. I was talking to my son. I just told him what happened. Listen, I'm human, right? I was waiting for the number, and then I missed it. So I got pissed. That's okay. I'm laughing about it now. Yeah, listen, I'm human like everybody else. All right, folks, listen. Last call for alcohol. This was a great morning. We didn't have 10 trades. We had 2 easy trades. And some of you folks got various stock trades. We had stocks on the move. This was like a mini bonanza today. I'm going to call it that. It's fantastic. You're welcome, Chad. Oh, nice, Stephen T. So don't do stupid stuff in the afternoon, please. We will see you in the video tonight. I will be back tomorrow in uniform, ready to go. You're welcome. Everybody putting stuff in. You're welcome. 12K for Michael W. That's fantastic. That's just remarkable stuff. Sneer, awesome. Mark B. Yep. See you all tomorrow. All right, I'm going to wrap it here. Just take it for what it is. It's good morning. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Appreciate everybody being here. Did some learning today. We looked at a lot of charts, made some money, and guess what? That's what you signed up for. So we'll just do it again tomorrow. Enjoy the afternoon. Appreciate everybody. Take care, folks.